Hello guys, and welcome to mattsbeamer. In the later half of 2005, a new Porsche was designed to the Porsche range. This car is called the Cayman for people who think the 911 is too expensive. So this video is an in-depth tour based on the rare Porsche Design Edition 1 Cayman. It's rare because only 777 were made. The 987C, which is the first generation Cayman, was based on the second generation Boxster, which is the convertible variant known as the 987, which replaced the original Boxster known as the 986. Anyway, I shall keep this video focused on the Cayman 987C, even though they are very similar, sharing the same mid-engine platform and all the other items. The Cayman S was the first variant to hit the road back in 2005, followed by the base variant in 2006. The base version started its life with a 2.6 flat 6, which had 245 horsepower. It topped out at 160 miles per hour and did 0 to 62 miles per hour in about 6.1 seconds with the standard 5-speed manual transmission. The Tiptronic S was a bit slower in both ways. 0 to 60 was 7 seconds and it topped out at 157 miles per hour. In 2009, the 2.7 got replaced by the 2.9 flat 6, which gained an extra 20 horsepower, which obviously helped the base Cayman out a bit. The base version 2.9 had either a 6-speed manual, where the 0 to 62 was 5.8 seconds, and it topped out at 165 miles per hour. And there was also a 7-speed PDK system, which brought the 0 to 62 down to 5.7 seconds in normal mode, and it topped out at 163 miles per hour. The PDK system is supposed to be miles better than the slower automatic Tiptronic system, as you can see. The Cayman S started off with a 3.4 flat 6, which was derived from the 3.2 used in the early Boxster S. The early 3.4 had 295 horsepower, and in the slow Tiptronic form, it did 0 to 62 in 6.1, which was the same time as the manual 5-speed 2.7, which proves how much that gearbox affected its performance. The 6-speed manual did 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. The Tiptronic S top speed was 166 miles per hour, and the manual topped out at 171 miles per hour. The later Cayman S had an extra 25 horsepower, which brought the power to 320 horsepower, and it also had direct injection. There was a new 6-speed variant, which helped the car get from 0 to 62 in 5.2 seconds, and a top speed of 172 miles per hour. The new PDK 7-speed transmission did 0 to 62 in 5.1, and had a top speed of 171 miles per hour. All the information on the Cayman does get a little bit confusing, so please let me know if you notice any mistakes. If you find any mistakes, I shall put your name in the comments down below and thank you myself. Anyway, back to this car, which is a special edition called the Porsche Design Edition 1. There were only 777 made, and this is number 349. This special edition was made to celebrate Porsche design and the famous chronograph 1S, which was designed by Ferdinand Alexander Porsche 35 years prior to this car. All the 777 owners of these cars received a special suitcase full of Porsche design goodies. Unfortunately though, it's very rare to find a car that still has these goodies included. let's start the tour. Starting with the exterior, all 777 cars were finished in the colour black, and this black was solid, so no fancy names going on here. The decals on this car are finished in matte black, though some of them on this car are missing, but the owner has just bought a new set to freshen up the look. Starting at the front of the car, the front bumper on this car is very low down, and this is where the decals should be, which start from here and continue all the way over the top of the car to the rear of the car. To the left of the front number plate, you have your towing eye, which has been covered. This is where the front fog lights are located. On the top side of the bumper, you have your clear side indicators. At the bottom of each corner are these tiny lip spoilers. Just in front of the headlights are these jet washers for the headlights. On the bonnet, you will see the decals, which let you know it's a Porsche Design product. As you would expect, the Porsche badge is sat proudly on the bonnet. The headlights on this car are the Xenon style lights. I like how they make the headlights a totally different style to the 911, but you still know it's a family member. The heated windscreen washers are hidden under the rear edge of the bonnet to help with the aerodynamics and keeping the lines smooth. The coefficient drag on this car is 0.29. As you can see, the windscreen wipers are old school, not the new type. Up on the roof, we have some more Porsche Design decals. Also up on the roof are these 4 areas which allow you to attach a roof box or a roof rack. Now let's head to the side before heading to the rear of the car. This for me is very odd, but it's very Porsche, which I like. On the left hand side, on the front ring, is where the fuel door is located. To open the door, you need to push down the door on the hinge side. When the door is open, you will see the fuel cap and the recommended petrol. Moving down to the wheels. I really like the wheels in this car. They are known as the 19-inch turbo wheels. The previous owner changed them from the diamond cut look to an all black look. I really like this look though, to be honest. As this car is a special Porsche Design Edition 1, the wheels are on 5mm spacers. These beautiful alloys are wrapped in 245/35 R19 Continental tyres. Behind the alloys are some massive 318mm eternally vented and cross-drilled discs with bright red 4-piston monoblock aluminium fixed calipers, which bring the car from 60 to 0 in just over 106 metres. The front suspension are McPherson struts with anti-roll bars. This car also has the PASM, which means Porsche Active Suspension Management. The ride height on this Porsche Cayman S Edition 1 is 10mm lower than its siblings too. Moving on to the beautiful coloured coded teardrop styled mirrors. They are electronically adjustable, heated, and I think they automatically dim when there is a car behind. I never drove this car in the dark. The doors also have decals on the side. I love how they are understated on this car. As you would expect, on this car the window surrounds are in black, and it seems that the windows are also tinted too. The colour-coded bow-style handles are lovely to use too. They have such a great feel to them, feel very solid, and they also have a visible key slot. Behind each door we have the colour-coded side intakes with vertical slats. You will notice that there is some kind of paint protection just here, which reduces stone chips to that area. I love how the rear arches are wide, kinda like a woman's hips. It's ideal for having wide alloy wheels. The rear alloys on this car are wrapped in 255/35 I19 Continental tyres. The rear brakes are slightly smaller than the front ones at 299mm. This car also has ABS 8, which is part of the PSM system. It also has ASR, ABD and MSD. Heading around to the rear of the car. The rear of this car is quite beefy and wide, and I love it. Let's start from the top. This car here has a massive rear hatch, which seems to be unique to this car. The rear window is heated and has a third high-level LED brake light. This here is the automatic deploying rear spoiler, which is cool. It goes up if you reach 75 miles per hour and goes back down at around about 50 miles per hour. But you can manually move the spoiler up and down. I shall show you later. Some of you may have noticed that the rear Cayman S badge has been deleted, but you should have the Porsche decals going from the front to back. The rear taillights on a Porsche design are also different from the standard Cayman S. The taillights here are just red, while on the standard Cayman S they are red and white. Moving below the spoiler, you have the rear bumper. To the right of the rear plate you have the rear towing eye, and that is also covered with a colour-coded cover. I also love the way that the exhaust exits the rear bumper through the centre. The exhausts are stainless steel, chrome plated with black insides. They sound the part too. I shall do the sound test right at the end of the video. The dimensions. The length of this car is 434.7 centimetres. The width is 180.1 centimetres. The height of this car is 130.4 centimetres, and it has a ground clearance of about 11.4 centimetres. The interior. Let's have a look inside the car. First of all, let's just have a look at this key, which is an old school blade style key. The centre is black with the Porsche logo, and it has silver around the edge. It would have been nice if the Porsche design team altered the key slightly too. On the other side of the key is where we have three buttons: the lock and unlock button, the bonnet release, and the rear hatch release. On this car, you can close the windows by holding the key in lock position. Pulling up the door handle, you will notice that the window will drop slightly to help you open the door. BMW has used this for years. I first saw it on my dad's 8 Series BMW. Inside, you will notice the beautifully styled interior with so much leather everywhere. Okay, it may be slightly dated compared to today's newer Porsches, but this car has the correct amount of luxury and style mixing with raw feel. It's hard to explain, but it's a nice place to be if you want to drive a car hard. This car has many extras, being a special edition version. I made a special video dedicated explaining in detail what this car includes. Getting into the Cayman for me is a bit tricky. The doors open wide, but they are also very long. I'm not that tall, at only 6 foot, but I am quite wide with back issues. Yep, I sound like an old man, I know. Once in though, it is very comfortable. You are very low down. My friend has to slouch a little to see out of the windscreen. He is 6'3". Looking at the top of the dashboard, you will notice that it is covered in black leather, which is soft to touch. This is the part of the Design Edition. You will see many air vents to direct air at the windscreen just here. Also, on top of the dash, there are some car speakers. In the centre, you will see what looks to be a sun or solar sensor. If the sun is bright, the sensor will help the car's air conditioning compensate to make it more effective. On the right hand side is the passenger's airbag, which is also covered in leather. The instrument shroud is also covered in leather. Here you can see the stitching. There seems to be some kind of grille on the shroud too, I'm guessing for style. Along the front edge of the dashboard we have 4 ground air vents. one at each end and two in the centre. The vents have silver dials around the edge, and on the directional adjuster, each vent can be individually turned on and off. In between the centre air vents, we have a round hazard switch. Press it and you have quite a loud sound. I like it. One thing I like about this Porsche is this just here. It's called the Sports Chrono Stopwatch, which is part of the Sports Chrono package. It has a black face, large orange needle, and also a small white one. There's also a silver bevel, and the back cover is covered in leather. There is also a digital display. You can control this stopwatch with one of the stalks on the steering column. Underneath the top layer of the dash is a black strip of black plastic, which flows across the length of the dashboard. It matches the exterior colour, which is black. In the centre of the dash, in the black plastic zone, is the central locking switch. Head left to just above the glove box and you will notice some very clever but over-engineered cup holders. These ones need to be tweaked to sort them out though. I love how you can fold the centre area up to hide the big hole in between them. It makes it look a lot neater. Heading over to the centre stack, we have the PCM, which stands for Porsche Communication Management. I think this one here is the PCM 2.1. I'll just quickly turn it on for you, and I should turn down the volume too. You are greeted with the Porsche logo. This is the trip computer screen. At the top, these two buttons are for the telephone for answering and hanging up. The AM and FM radio buttons, along with the CD player button. There is a keypad which I guess does many things depending on its mode. For example, the telephone keypad, the CD tracks, and the preset radio stations. The track or station selectors are at the bottom. This here is where the SIM card goes, should you want your car to become a mobile telephone. Down here we have the repeat button, which repeats the navigation commands, should you forget them. The wheel at the bottom left turns on and off the system and also doubles up as a volume wheel. In the centre, above the CD slot, we have the SOS button, should there be an emergency, if your phone is connected obviously. The eject button, this here turns the screen on and off. This button here allows you to block certain parts of the trip and will give you new updated directions. Map turns the map on and off and shows you where you are. Set is short for settings. There is so much this thing can do. I just don't want you to fall asleep. Plus I am limited on the recording time. Pushing main takes you to the main screen, which shows you things like the guidance and whatever you are listening to, plus the temperature and time. Audio takes you to the dedicated audio screen, which gives you more information about what's playing or the station. There are also some options, so you can basically select the travel programs, which allows you to turn on and off the travel announcements. Sound allows you to adjust the sound settings, such as the bass, the treble, balance or fader, and also the loudness. Tel is for the telephone menu. Mail is for things like the emails. Info gives you information such as your address details or CD information. Trip is for the trip computer, which gives you travel data. You can set up certain speed limits, which ping where you go over the speed limit, and a sports display, which allows you to time your trips, etc. Navi takes you to the navigation menu. There is so much this system can do, I'm just skimming through it. The wheel at the bottom right hand side allows you to move about the screen, selecting menus. If you push this in, it selects the menu for you. To be honest, it's not the easiest on the market to understand. Moving on down, we have the aircon system, which is silver just like the PCM. At the top left, you have the heated windscreen button. Next to that, you have the air recirculation button. AC turns on and off the air conditioning. Heated rear window. Below this row of buttons is a screen and more buttons. The big switch, which is on the left hand side of the screen. allows you to control the temperature. Pressing up increases the temperature and pushing down decreases it. The temperature is displayed on the screen. Auto is when the car sorts out the air conditioning system for you, always making sure the car is kept at your desired temperature. The next 3 buttons are the zone controls, controlling where you want to send the air to. The big switch on the right hand side controls the fan speed. It seems there is quite a lot of adjustment. The fan speed is shown by a certain movable bar on the screen. Moving on down again, we have the rear spoiler button. This is where you can adjust the spoiler height as shown. This is the PASM button, which stands for Porsche Active Suspension Management, which allows you to adjust the suspension stiffness depending on your requirements. I think it also adjusts the height too, but I'm not sure. Sport mode makes the car feel more responsive to the throttle input. PSM is the Porsche Stability Management. If this gets turned off, the car sensors, which helps the car stay in control, get turned off too. Moving on down, we have an odd storage area, which is deeper than it looks. Here's my old iPhone 7 Plus to give you an idea of the size. As you can see, this car has the best transmission for its year, a 6-speed manual. I love how this gearbox feels mechanical and you can feel every single movement. It's just so precise. The knob and the gator are also in black Alcantara with white stitching. On the top of the knob is a dark grey circle with the gear shift pattern engraved into it and highlighted with white. Reverse is just like the manual BMWs. You push the gear knob to the left and a bit more, and then you push forward. The plastic trim which goes over the transmission tunnel is the same colour as the exterior. Under this little door here is the ashtray, along with cigarette lighter. It's great to see a proper handbrake, much better than all this electronic rubbish. It is also wrapped in black Alcantara leather. The button seems to be in a brushed alloy colour. At the back, we have what seems to be an armrest, covered in black leather. Inside is an area to store stuff. I think the small area at the front here is for storing coins, but I'm not sure about that. There is also a 12-volt power socket inside. Over to the driver's view. I love the steering wheel on this car. It is very sporty and there are no buttons to distract you. And when you are driving it is well weighted, as it is hydraulic power steering. It is wrapped in more black Alcantara, while the 2 spokes and the outer part of the horn is in that dark silver colour. The very centre is in black, with the beautiful Porsche logo looking at you in the face. I'll quickly turn the ignition on. The ignition is to the left of the steering wheel. I really like the instrument clusters on this car, and you will notice the black theme continuing. To the left is the speedometer, along with the digital mileage and the trip mileage readout. In the centre we have the rev counter and a display which relates to the car onboard computer. I love the red needles and the Porsche Design Edition 1 logo. It feels so sporty. In the right hand cluster we have the coolant temperature readout up top and the fuel gauge to the right. At the bottom is another digital display which is given the time and the temperature. To the left of the steering wheel there are 2 stalks. The bottom one controls the onboard computer display, which is just underneath the rev counter. There is quite a lot this thing can do. I'll be brief. The display shows you the speed, the radio station and the fuel consumption. You can go into menus too. If you go into chrono, you can control the stopwatch located on the dash. The engine's all level when the engine is cold. And as you can see, the level is spot on. Info, which lets you know if there are any faults in the car, a bit like what BMW call check control. Limit, this allows you to set speed limits for your car, so if you go over them, the car will ping at you. Setting, this allows you to alter many different things on this screen here, such as the units being used on the dash, like the miles per gallon, the miles per hour, the kilometers and temperature. You can change what you see on the center display. You can adjust the language settings, the clock, and also Navi brings up the navigation. This little knob down here resets the trip mileage and alters the brightness of the dash. The knob on the right hand side allows you to change the time. The main stalk on the left has the indicators and other light controls. The stalk on the right hand side is for the windscreen wiper controls. To the left of the ignition switch, we have the main light control system, which also turns on and off the fog lights, just like most other cars. You may even notice that even down here, it is leather coated. Under the steering wheel, you have a lever. This allows you to adjust the height and the reach of the steering wheel. It's all manually adjustable. The rear view mirror on this car is very basic. It allows you to tilt down the mirror, just like most other cars. Let's focus on the door now, before I get confused. Up top of the leather coated door, we have the mirror controls. This allows you to select which mirror you want to adjust just by turning it left or right. To adjust the way you want the mirror to move, just treat the switch as a joystick. A very short one. Moving on down more, you have the silver door handle, which feels solid. Here are the electronic window switches. If you tap the switch lightly, the window will continue opening or closing. It does get confusing when you're driving, which switch is for which window. Let's quickly open the door. I love all the leather inside this car and its white stitching in certain areas. This car also has side airbags. There are a few speakers located in this door too. The grab handle is also covered in leather and has white stitching. The lower area of the door though is carpeted. The light on this door is for safety at night. It allows the drivers driving past you to see that you have your door open. There is a secret storage bin in the door, just under these armrests. It may be useful for storing small items. Being a manual car, it has 3 pedals, each in silver with black rubber areas. The carpets are in black, and it also has the Porsche car mats, which are also in black. Here are the buttons to open the boot and the bonnet. As this car is a Porsche Design Edition 1, you also get the Porsche Design door seals. They really do look the part, especially in this colour. These black sports leather seats really do hold you in place due to the big bolsters. But for me, maybe they're slightly too tight due to my build. But they are also very comfortable once you're in the car, so I can't really complain really. The headrests in this car are embossed with the Porsche logo. The main area you sit in has perforated leather. Down here, adjust the seat's forward and backwards position. The big lever on the side adjusts the height of the seat, and this little switch electronically adjusts the angle of the backrest. These seats fold forward to allow you to get behind the seats. Just slide the little lever up and pull the seat forward. You don't actually get to see much though, just a carpet really. Oh, and a hook for hanging your jacket. There are also some airbags here too. Just jumping into the passenger side. As you can see, this door has 1 switch less than the driver's door, which is basically the electronic window switch. Here is a very strange storage zone, maybe for storing a pen that you don't want to use until you've opened the door. The passenger seat controls on this car are exactly the same as the driver's one. The passenger side also gets that special hook for hanging your clothes behind the seat. In the passenger side, it is more comfortable for me in my opinion, due to having more space. The glove box is a special one on this car, not because it's covered in leather, but because it has the plaque number of this special car. This car is number 349 out of 777 made. It's nice to see that this glove box is lockable, and it feels pretty well made. Pull this handle here down to open the glove box. When you open the glove box, it glides down gently due to the hydraulic piston. It's quite a nice size considering the type of car it is. It is also felt lined, which reduces the sound of rattling of loose objects. There is also storage for 2 loose CDs, which is very cool. When there is a CD inside, it displays as red, and when it's empty, it displays as white. Oh, and here's a pen holder. Leaving the glove box behind, let's focus up top. The roof lining on this car is covered in black Alcantara. It feels so nice to touch and look at, but I would look quite odd if I kept rubbing the roof like a weirdo. The sun visors are also in black, and if you flip them down, you have a little flap. This little flap gives you access to the mirror. When the flap is open, you will see that each mirror has a light either side. Luckily, this manufacturer knows Cayman drivers love to check their hair, so even the driver gets a mirror. Here is where the interior lighting is. Each side gets their own map reading light. The luggage compartments. The front. You can open the bonnet with the key or the button next to the driver, which you can access when the door is open. I use the key as it's much easier for me. The bonnet on this car is so light to lift. As you can see, there is no engine here. There is a lot of black plastic around the edge, and this is where the windscreen fluid gets filled up. Under the centre compartment is where the battery is hidden. Here is some kind of storage compartment, which you can access from the top or from the front. To the right of this access is the flap for filling up the brake fluid. This car uses .4. Here is where the DVD player is hidden, a very cool hidden feature. In the corner is a light to light up the area at night. I have no idea if it is any good though. The front storage is very big in my opinion. I struggled to find out the size in litres, but I'm sure someone can hide in there. I would have proven it, but there was no one to let me out. Oh, that red plastic thing is the warning triangle should you break down. This is where the bonnet catch is up front. The rear luggage compartment. As with the front, you can open with the key or the button inside to release the hatch. The rear hatch is very long. On the hatch itself, you have a little light. I'm not sure what this bar here does, but there is some netting which holds your luggage in place, providing it's small. At each side of the boot is a storage compartment which is quite deep. The black plastic in the boot also is colour-coded to the exterior paintwork. In the storage compartment is where this owner keeps his user manual and books. Also, there are some speakers located here too. Towards the rear of the boot gets deeper, and that's because the shallow area is the engine cover. I didn't have the time or tools to remove it. Also in the boot are tethering points, should you need to tie down your goods. This little compartment here is where you top up the engine oil. The blue cap is for topping up the coolant, should any need to be added. Here is the startup of the engine. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed the in-depth tour. I know these videos are a required taste. If you live in Moscow and you want to see your car featured on my channel, please message me down below and remember to subscribe. Thank you so much. And remember, I have made other videos based on this car, so look out for those too. Thank you and have a nice week. Take care, bye.